Thank you, Diana. I'm Lisa. I'm Lisa Basishvili. I'm a PhD candidate at Tbilisi State University, as Diana mentioned. So I'm delighted to be given that opportunity by American Research Institute of South Caucasus that I've been selected as a fellow. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Talin. So I'm here taking your brief time to introduce to you my research project that is ongoing, but I'm on a final phase of the research at this moment. But I have to start and telling you a little bit more about how I started, what it's all about, and I will share my PowerPoint presentation to you, which is right here, just in front of me. So I'll share to you, and that is this. So okay. Mm, push that button. And okay, so I'll start. The My research has long title. It's importance of TV media for civic engagement and deliberation in Georgia. This is the case of Georgia. So I'll tell you what is the research all about. It is the PhD research of the three-phase interdisciplinary study. It explores the interrelation between the television media and democratic processes in Georgia. In particular, the routes for embedding deliberative activities into public life in order to give citizens a more permanent and meaningful role in shaping their opinions about their social issues that are common for everyone and that remain unresolved due to an extreme polarization of opinion affecting everyone's life. Particularly, this PhD project will make an effort to develop and broadcast TV pilot programs in order to convene groups of people representing a cross section of the regional population to learn, deliberate, and develop collective recommendations required for solving multifaceted public issues in their regional towns. So, the relevance of the research project. Um, I always tell the participants when I meet them what is the purpose of researching things in a small town of Korea region, what purpose it has, and all of them are listening to me quite carefully because the deliberation is a word that quite hardly, not easily translated in Georgia, but I make an analog, which was quite a long time ago as the people being discussed in the villages. And I remind them that that always been the case before the Soviets came to this country. But I'm telling you the relevance of the research project. It supports the civic engagement through a combination of TV public experiments and deliberation. Its further institutionalization as a participatory mechanism in a country. It will soon justify that face-to-face interaction more closely embodies some democratic ideals than certain forms of voting or virtual and electronic communications. It helps society members to reach consensus, replace disagreement and apathy with a desire to solve problems. It also helps people to learn more about the principles and benefits of the open government being adopted by different countries in the world that represents the first international legal instrument as defined, a culture of governance that promotes the principles of transparency, integrity, accountability, and stakeholder participation in support of democracy and inclusive growth. So, principle and the benefit of open government being quite appealing for those who I tried to explain to them. The locals are struggling and eager to participate and to have their voices heard, as I've been numerously told by now. So, let me go to problems. Let me go to the problems. Where the problems are in the country. The problematic intersections are the ones that connect population, politics, and the media. And all this research I've actually built upon all those three problems that I'm going to mention right now. I will not surprise you if I tell you that society doesn't trust politicians in Georgia. This is the first reason and first problem. Second is the public does not trust the media either, because in their opinion, TV program, talk shows, or news miss an active connection with the audience, especially when one party is a constant viewer, listener, and the other party is always providing information, when one party always listens and the other party always talks. The third problem is the community members don't have much trust in each other, which a priori precludes the existence of deliberation. When local people voluntarily discuss or hold a dialogue around the issue they face. So I mentioned deliberation already, and I have to explain what is the deliberation. So deliberation is one of the forms of communication that is based on the principles of the democratization. The classical concept of deliberation is focused on equality, fairness, the ability to analyze ideas, and public welfare. In 1989, the Robert Dahl invented the innovative mechanism that involves people solving their social problems. He called it mini populists, such as assembly of citizens, mini publics. It is a demographic representation of the larger populations. There are 12 models of deliberative mini publics all around the world. So now I switch to more in details about the research project itself. It is divided into three phases. One phase is a is the first phase, and first what is already completed by me, a survey or as a questionnaire, as a tool to collect opinions regarding regional town specific social issues that are common for locals. That has been completed. The second phase is the regional TV program to be broadcasted as a pilot and to feature one social problem at a time with live discussion of subject matter experts in a studio setting. Each topic will be later be discussed by regular people during DMPs, Democratic Mini Public Sessions. And third phase is the deliberative mini publics to hold physically in a one room locally in Ozugeti or in any small town in Guria region um, anytime soon. I've already held two of them as a control meetings, so I'm going to hold the rest shortly after. So what the research goal I have without this I may not go farther because I need to explain what the research goal is as such. It is to determine how the TV material developed by the regional TV media helps expand the opportunities for deliberation among community members who are politically and socially inactive. Plus, because many of them have no urge no desire to bring social issues in a live discussion. In other words, the media will tell people more about the social issues they have, plus empower them by telling how many they are. I have to bring some quotes from experts what the discussion is, when the people, what the discussion brings the difference, what is the meaning of the discussions and deliberations. When people discuss and deliberate with each other, they have begin to analyze the problems carefully and come to a well thought out conclusion, devoting a certain amount of time to listening to different opinions, which we Georgians often missing in the country. So, what is the hypothesis? My hypothesis is the more cases of deliberation we have in our country among local community members, the greater the possibility that the local government will take into account the demands of the people for solving their domestic issues through the local budgetary allocations as directed by citizens and not the pre-planned governmental decisions, which is almost always the case in Georgia and in Guria region in particular. So outcome, I want to emphasize the outcomes, like whatever outcomes the data I'm having right now. First phase, a qualitative questionnaire included demographic section, social issue section, and civic engagement section. It took place in October, November, December 2021. I've traveled to Ozurgeti, town of Ozurgeti, Guria region. I stayed there for 3 months. A method for selection of respondents was snowball because under the COVID-19 conditions, other methods were not applicable and doable. And number of respondents I found through this snowball method is 100, out of which 65 were women and 35 were men from age 70 to 85. So social issue section uh, gave me the result as the respondents named the following problems as a personal or for the town inhabitants. First is and foremost is an unemployment, first social issue that they named. Second, low income and salaries. Third was the high prices on medicines. Fourth was the problems with the stray dogs and dog shelters in town of Ogeti. Five was high consumer prices. Six was town infrastructure. Seven was accessibility to new consumer markets. And eight was the drug use. The question one was 81 respondents have not tried or have a desire to contribute to solving any social issue or any issue on their own. 90 respondents never tried. That's the first remarkable things that I came out, and I'm having this as a remarkable data that 81 tried to solve their social issue on their own. 81. So question two was that 64 respondents agreed that local small town inhabitants had tried or had a desire to contribute to solving some kind of social issues on their own. 36 respondents never tried. So those two questions that I get the diagrams is vividly demonstrating what is the activity rate of the locals in solving their social problems by their own, or the town inhabitants trying to do so on their own. So the civic engagement section also gave me some remarkable data, and it actually contained 8 questions. And out of 8 questions, I had a first question was, have you ever attended any social meeting when any social issue was a subject of discussion? 36 people said yes, 72 people said no. Second question, have you ever been involved in volunteer work? 87 people said yes, 52 people said no. Question 3, like, have you ever distributed any info brochures or leaflets to anyone? 20 people said yes, 80 people said no. Are you discussing issues of social or civic nature with your internet friends? 31% said yes, 69 people said no. Question 5, are you partaking in elections and vote? 88 people said yes, 12 people said no. It is a remarkable data that I received out of small portion of 100 people, that 88 people go and vote on a 4-year basis, regardless the outcome of they are regardless of outcome of the elections, regardless of the social issues they face, they still go and vote. This is a remarkable that it actually indicates the civic engagement rate in Guria region. Question 6. So, are you a part of social groups and networks in social media which are created for discussing socially painful issues? 40 people yes, and 60 people said no. Question 7, how and the rest. So I'll go to the following. Um, so I have a little gem here. So, okay, so I have cross tabulations of income, the 4 variables with civic engagement, which is very detailed data that is hard to go into. It's a first phase research that came out of the research, the questionnaire. And I'll put the emphasis on outcome of the second phase, which is the deliberative mini publics that included 2 meetings as a control meetings without TV pilot programs broadcasted prior. So it actually held on the 20th and 27th of August in 2022. It held in town Ozurgeti, Goria region, and a method for selection was phone calls based on their questionnaire where people named the social issue which later became a subject of discussion during those DMPs in August. So number of participants, first meeting had 10 and the second meeting had 13. The reason I mentioned as a control meetings is that I have 2 types of meetings planned. One DMP has no influence of a TV pilot program, and the second phase of the DMPs will be having the TV programs broadcasted prior. So the control meetings held in August, and those meetings which have the TV programs prior will be held in September and October. So second control meeting, unemployment was discussion subject as a social issue. The meeting attended by 10 people, as I mentioned, and all selected from a questionnaire where they have chosen unemployment as one of the pressing issues, either for them or for a local community. 27 people received the phone calls to attend, but out of which only 17 agreed, but only 10 showed up. During the meetings, the participants discussed all other surrounded problems that must be solved for mitigating the unemployment in their region. Consensus was reached only on the sub-problems to address a sub. So on the 3 out of those flip charts, you see that all those are the sub issues that they named as a critical issues to solve, and out of 14, only 3 being had a consensus. The second control meeting was the stray dogs and dog shelters in Ozurgeti as a social issue, and again, the meeting attended by 13 people, all selected from a questionnaire where they have chosen stray dogs as one of the pressing issues, either for them or for the local community. 32 people received the phone calls to attend, out of which 25 agreed, but only 13 showed up. During the meeting, the participants discussed all other surrounded issues that must be solved for mitigating the problems of shelters for stray dogs and their sterilization. Consensus was reached only on 8 corresponding issues to address a sub. So the third phase that I already mentioned that in my research in the third phase, 3-phase interdisciplinary study, will be TV pilots, 4 programs per 1 social issue, and DMPs, deliberative mini publics, as a follow-up. It will definitely going to take place in October. There will be 4 DMPs, as I mentioned, and 4 pressing social issues will be discussed. First in TV programs, and then afterwards as a follow-ups during the mini public sessions. I will compare and measure the discussion rate as well as willingness of local people to engage in after TV pilots are aired and shared on the social media. There will be no phone calls. Participants should call for signing in. They will receive a small honorarium as before. So this is it, and thank you very much. And if you have questions, please ask.